All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army, episode 2.248. We got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to start out with headlines where we'll talk Klopp, Xavi, Belgian VAR, and Victor Osimhen. Weekly What If, James Bond related. Premier League, we got FA Cup craziness, and finally, the Premier League is back. We got two full slates to look at coming up this week. So we'll run through the highs and the lows of that. Around the world, we got African and Asian Cups, and then stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everybody's favorite segment goes. Now it's time to welcome in this week's panel of beauties, starting with Mr. Mitchell Goulet, aka Overtime Mitch, who is fresh off the boat, metaphorically speaking, from his first trip to merry old England. So give us the quick and the dirty of the trip, and start off with did you shag any well-fit birds?
Fourth trip to England. You're close there.
Yeah, fourth, first, whatever.
but, but appreciate the shouts. No, kept it in my pants this trip, and even if I didn't, I wouldn't tell you. It was cool. It was a hell of a trip. We went to Craven Cottage for Liverpool Fulham, and then went to Stamford Bridge for Chelsea Villa, which was an underwhelming game, but still cool to see the bridge. Just London's an awesome city. Love being there. Love walking around. Went to a little Puma event. Got some turf burn and some new boots, so can't complain.
Nice. Sounds like a good trip. Mikey, you are up next, and you love being introduced last, so that's why I waited for you on here. Now you've been getting run ragged by Vince Vaughn lately, launching all sorts of new shows. Everyone should be checking those out, by the way. Audiorama, check it out. But your question, Mikey, has absolutely nothing to do with Vince Vaughn or Audiorama or any of that. I've been sitting on this one actually for a couple weeks. You're definitely going to get blindsided. You probably forgot you even said this, but on Twitter, you mentioned that you officially love Mudryk. And I need to, why in the world could that possibly be the case?
Because he is just completely void of self-awareness, just out there balling, running around. Doesn't really there's some of his social cues that I've started to love. I don't think he knows as in depth about what makes people celebrate, what makes people frustrated on the pitch. I think he's just out there feeling it out, and I've started to really enjoy him. Plus, I think at his age, there is such a player there, and I am starting the campaign to get him for 35 million to the carpet in the next year and a half or two, because I really do think he's so raw and beautifully dumb that I think he could be a great player someday if he gets the right guy with him. Arteta. Chelsea's the worst place for a guy like that. He's just so impressionable, and I don't know. I think he needs a lot better coaching than he's getting right now. So, Team Mudryk for life for sure. He's so dumb.
A little bit of a shot at my guy Pochettino there, but
stinks.
Other than that, I love the explanation, and that's exactly what I was hoping for when I saw that tweet. So
I've fallen in love with him. I will only proclaim that for most players, so don't worry about it.
All right, headlines time. So no surprise, we're going to start this week as Jurgen Klopp shocked a lot of people, I believe, by announcing on Friday that this season will be his last with Liverpool. His reasoning, he basically said that he's not out of energy now by any means, but he sort of feels like, a dip in energy. He's just sort of running out of energy. So he doesn't want to go, past his sell-by date, which to me is a very respectable decision. But Mikey, let's start with you. What was your sort of knee-jerk reaction?
That I can't take 4 months of this shit online.
It's better than a whole season. It's not like Krzyzewski going around every court and getting a freaking snowblower or whatever the hell they were giving him.
I mean, this is Jeter. No, whatever. You want me to say he's great? You want me to say this is so end of an era, all this crap? No, I'm gonna be glad to see the back of him. Liverpool don't deserve a guy that good, and I can't do 4 months of these "You'll Never Walk Alone" videos on Twitter with him crying. I can't do it. Swear to God, I really can't.
There's gonna be a lot of those. There's gonna be
I fucking can't stand it.
There's already been
a romantic at all, huh?
No, I can't stand it.
He did give,
and yes, I'm only saying that because Tyler's not here.
You did give Klopp a backhanded compliment and said that Liverpool don't deserve a coach that
he's
good.
fantastic. So he's great. What else do you want?
Okay, Mitch, any thoughts
Will,
here?
yeah, seems like weird timing for the announcement. I'm happy to sing his praise after the season is over. I'll say it's the end of an era when it actually is the end of that era. But for now, we got half a season to play and some points to make up. So we can discuss this further. It was a video. It was I guess appropriate, but the timing seemed weird of it. So let's talk about this at the end of the season.
That's
Pretty cool
fair.
that this is the first piece of media that hasn't been leaked or hinted or anything in a long time, and that was released by the club. Really
Makes
cool.
me
I like that part
makes
of it.
me feel like it was kind of like a Klopp walked in on a Monday thing and said, "Hey guys, let's put a video together. All one, two, three of you follow me into this room. Need an editor, cool." And it was out on Tuesday.
That might have been it. It
I'd love to
came
know that.
out via the Athletic that he had at least talked to ownership in
Hmm.
November about the fact that he was sort of, I think he was leaning towards this year being the last, or this season being the last one. But I wouldn't be surprised if it is basically like you said, just a he came in and let's do this now. I think the time I don't listen. There have been like those long goodbyes that players and coaches have done that have that have really rubbed me the wrong way. This one doesn't necessarily do that for me. I do feel like he knew, he sort of figured he was going to get pipped by the media, which does happen all the time. And so he just felt like, you know what, I want to get this out on my own terms, at my own, the timing of my own choosing. And we have a few months left. And yeah, Twitter is going to be, or Instagram or wherever is going to be a little tough to take with the you never walk alone videos, especially now and then again in May/June. But man, I gotta say, I love Klopp. I mean, as in terms of a manager for a different club, I don't know if I've ever sort of had, I wouldn't say warm and fuzzies, but like he just seems like a good dude. He's obviously a really good coach. I think he's going, about the departure the right way. We can discuss timing a little bit, but I just feels like, what he sees sort of the future in terms of like what he's able to bring to the club, and he's like, you know what, I can't do this being like at the high level, spending the ungodly amount of time and effort on, running everything. I can't do that, forever. And so he's going out like at the right time. So I really do actually. It almost adds to my appreciation for Klopp, and hopefully he'll end up at the USMNT next, which that'd be cool. But quickly, on next for Liverpool, there's all this talk about Xabi Alonso being the heir apparent. He's obviously having a great season as manager of Bayer Leverkusen at the moment. Still the only undefeated club, although they've been sort of limping along lately. Mitch or Mikey, any thoughts on if he is going to be the guy?
I'd say it's going to be him, and I think he's going to do a great job.
There
Seems
it
like
is.
he's the most qualified candidate right now. Yeah.
That was the way you said that, Mikey. I know.
I'm being serious.
Yeah, you are.
Oh,
Okay.
Realistically, he should wait for someone to come in and fuck up before he comes in.
It's tough to, I mean, anytime you follow a legend like this, it just almost never works out, I
They should
guess.
just bring in Gerrard and bottom out for 6 months and then bring him in. Get
um,
relegated.
the thing I'll say about Alonso is everybody wants him right now, but that would be buying at like the buying very high. If Leverkusen, who have been having a great season so far, give them their flowers, if they sort of go from limping along to sort of bottling it, as people will say, even though it's Bayern Munich and they're sort of ridiculously deep and talented, et cetera, et cetera. If they go on and sort of fall down the table a bit, things are going to look a little differently, I think, come May and June. So we'll see what people are saying at that point. Next up, same news under wildly different circumstances. Barcelona legend as a player, anyway, Xavi Hernandez announced on the heels of yet another bad loss, 5-3 versus Villarreal this weekend, that like Klopp, he will be leaving the club after this season. Now, unlike Klopp, this feels, it feels like a very different departure. It kind of feels like he's preempting, the him potentially getting fired by Barcelona. Um, which obviously is a club that he was a legend at. He played there 17 years, et cetera, et cetera. So Mitch, I went to Mikey first on Klopp. What was your sort of first reaction to the news of Xavi heading out?
Yeah, just that. Felt like he was getting out in front of it and saying, well, I know I'm gone at the end of the season, whether it's from my own devices or from somebody else's decision. So I'm going to put it out on my own terms and maybe give the players something to fight for towards the end of the season. I'm not sure what that does, like motivationally, but yeah, he wanted to go out on his own terms. I get it.
Mikey?
He quit, lost his mind. Uh, I'm being serious. He literally walked in one day or had the day end, and he didn't even like call his wife. Like I feel like Jurgen, when he did this, like was really thoughtful about it, and I think Xavi was just furious. You saw him talking to the camera, and then the Villarreal loss. Like his head was gone. And Lewandowski legitimately just got his first manager sacked as a member of Barcelona. He hasn't put a foot right in a while, and that team is frustrating. And Xavi just quit. Pretty crazy.
I think as casual fan, I know Barcelona, diehards will know all about this, but I think people forget that Xavi arrived at Barcelona when the club was, in pure crisis, right? I mean, they're still facing a lot of financial problems. And so they're not going to be able to sort of spend their way out of it the way they have in previous crises. But, he came in and they won La Liga last season. That's crazy. The amount of pressure that and sort of heat that he was under this season after just coming in, after being a club legend and winning La Liga last year I think it's a perfect encapsulation of, how ridiculously, ludicrously, embarrassingly high expectations are at some clubs. And Barcelona is probably the poster child for that. Like, and it's not just fans, it's the executives too. That like you're pushing out a coach who I think has proven himself to be a decent coach in the time that he was coaching over in was it Saudi Arabia or was it China where he came from? I can't remember.
Saudi Arabia, I
think it was Saudi Arabia. And then his time with Barcelona, it's just the situation itself is absolutely toxic. And I know Barcelona's the ownership structure and sort of the way the club works, the democratic essentially way it goes about things. They are going to have if Xavi Hernandez can't stick this out and sort of understand the pressure and sort of work with it, I can't imagine anybody is going to be able to do that. So Barcelona, I think if the people who want him gone, and this includes, it sounds like the board, most of the board anyway, I think they will regret that decision come a few years from now, maybe even a few months from now. Barcelona, by the way, they're still alive in the Champions League. I know, like, sort of this loss this weekend essentially kind of nixed them from the title race. They already lost in Copa del Rey. They're still in Champions League. They're still in the round of 16 against Napoli coming up next month. So they could still win, not just a trophy, but arguably the trophy. All right. Crazy news out of Belgium, where the league decided that a game between Anderlecht and Genk, not Ghent, Genk, will need to be replayed in its entirety due to, wait for this, a VAR error. So the quick explanation here is Genk lost 2-1, but they had a goal wiped away when a Genk player took a penalty. It was saved by the Anderlecht goalkeeper. A different Genk player tapped in the rebound, and then he was found by the VAR official to have encroached, come in early into the box. So what they did was just wipe away the goal, and Anderlecht had a free kick and they moved on. Well, it turns out that the Genk player was not the only player that encroached on the play. There were two Anderlecht players that were in the box early as well. So by rule, they should have retaken the penalty. They didn't do that. They just sort of played on. Genk filed an appeal, and the Belgian league said, yep, we're going to replay that whole game, which to me is, I was just talking about ludicrous and ridiculous. This is crazy that they're actually doing this. Mikey, what are your thoughts here?
I have so many questions about that. Like, do the players get two wages? Do the goals count in both? I have so many logistical questions to go over.
Always
First
the
and
important
foremost.
things come to mind for Mikey. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting, right?
Do fans get the same like the fans that attended? Do they are their
Same
tickets
ticket, same
valid for the
seat.
next one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
I'm serious. This is all crazy. If you got arrested at that game, do you get to go back and try again? It's a lot of questions that need answers. No, it's cool. I'm looking forward to the entirety of the past. We get a whole extra Premier League season then with these rules, so this is great.
Oh boy, it's just crazy. I mean, if this is a new precedent, yeah, we're gonna be playing. There's already too many games. We're gonna be playing games until like August, September, of the next year, of the next season. This is insane to me. I don't know.
Crazy.
I don't know who like signed off on this or why they thought it was a good idea. I mean, there's errors made in every game since the beginning of time. And we're just going to, I mean, obviously, yes, this was an objective rule that the VAR fucked up, but they fucked up against, what wasn't it?
Sheffield had a ball in the net.
Right. And there were so many objectively incorrect calls that my mind is officially bottled on this one. I think Belgian league
It's
fucked
insane.
up. Yeah, like we got to backtrack. Can't be doing this. All right, last headline.
What a judicial system in Belgium.
Last headline. Victor Osimhen. The saga took another turn as Napoli striker admitted this week that he has decided where he's going to go next season, but he's not going to tell anybody.
Yeah, he is. Everyone knows.
Okay, all right. Well, and this is an interesting dynamic since I'm asking two Arsenal fans this question. But Mikey, you go first. Where is
Chelsea?
Osimhen?
He's going to Chelsea. He's going to Chelsea. Next question.
We love him, but he's going to Chelsea.
Okay. All right.
The Chelsea ITKs on Twitter have already started, planning out the midfield supporting him. He's there.
Okay. All right. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. So I'm not gonna. I don't think you're reverse jinxing. I can see it in your eyes when you reverse jinx.
No, I want Mudryk for 35 and then an offload.
Okay.
Build him up and then sell him for 60 too.
Fucking right. Right back to him.
I don't know what it is about Osimhen, but I've always thought of him as like a Chelsea player too. He wears blue. Yeah. He wears the head, the face guard. So I can already picture him, as God, who's the Brazilian guy that I'm like, who was a total troll? I loved
Diego Costa.
I can basically see him as like the Diego Costa, but obviously a very different player. Yeah. Okay. Osimhen to Chelsea. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
All right. Weekly what if time. So if you, Mitch, were going to be making a James Bond movie, the next one.
Yep.
And you had to cast a Premier League manager, a current Premier League manager, as the Bond villain, who are you going with?
We talked about this last week a little bit before we started rolling, and I said, no, we got to save this weekly what if for when we have more people on this, because it's a great question, whoever submitted it. I've had a lot of time to think about it, and I have a top three, and I'm going to bend the rules a little bit. I don't think you mind. At number 3, it's Thomas Frank. He looks like he would betray someone in a heartbeat. He looks like he would be the twist in the movie where he was the mastermind behind it all the entire time. And his accent alone, I can see him having a mean monologue. Number 2, I've got Pep, just because he is the mastermind. He is the one that controls all things. I think Thomas Frank would work underneath him, and Pep would be kind of like the boss's boss above him. Pretty self-explanatory. And then number 1 is actually not a Premier League manager. It's a Premier League assistant coach. It's Jason Tindall.
Because Tindall? Is that you then? Oh,
yeah,
of course. Yes.
It's Jason Tindall. That guy oozes evil. The look in his eye, I know he would kidnap a damsel in distress. I know he would chop the hand off of somebody that he needed to. Like, that dude screams Bond villain to me. Wants to be the center of attention. Feels like he has a world takeover plot already brewing. Jason Tindall, I endorse you as the next Bond villain.
Great choices. Those. I'm glad you went beyond one, because those all make a lot of sense. And Thomas Frank, I actually completely co-sign. In fact, he would probably be my number 1.
Yeah.
But I like the inclusion on there. Mikey, where are you going with this one?
It's too easy to go with turtleneck Ten Hag, but I think that's giving him too much credit in his ability to mastermind a plan to take over the world. So I'm gonna go with a brotherly pairing. You're gonna be defeating a family of brothers, a Robin Hood and Batman of evil, if you will. It's Sean Deitch, and yeah, and you know who he's exactly like, and his co-partner. Hang on, make sure I don't nail this. I don't get this completely wrong, but it's him and Chris Wilder together. Just two bald fat men in their plan to take over the world with Brexit 442. That's how I'm gonna see this movie going. Bond always has to fight somebody less cultured than him.
I like so I'm going with Thomas Frank as my number one pick. I'm gonna take Ten Hag as a villain in the you know how Bond movies end up being like 4 movies in one. They like he like completes one mission and then he's got like 4 more to go. Ten Hag would be the villain early on who gets killed and he's like got a big plan and he gets killed way too easily. He's like he's out of the movie like just like that because he looks like a good Bond villain, but he's been so bad with Manchester United. I just sort of picture him as being like an early exit. But Thomas Frank is my pick. I want to give a quick twist here. Not 10 minutes after I said, you know what, we're going to try and keep these episodes tighter and shorter. But I'm going to throw a little twist here. Who would be the worst Bond villain from the Premier League managers?
Big Ange, you can't. If the villain just keeps saying mate, nobody's going to take it seriously at all.
Big old teddy bear Ange, yeah.
I've got your girl, mate.
That's fair. That's fair. I got 2 for you. Roy Hodgson. He'd be absolutely terrible he just seems like the most genial, gentlemanly. Like he probably doesn't have like a two-faced bone in his body. So I think Roy Hodgson would be an absolutely terrible. And the other one, oh shoot, I had another one written in my mind, and now I'm blanking on it. Oh, Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
Jurgen Klopp.
I can see him being so friendly that he's evil, that he just kind of announces his evil plot with a smile on his face, and it's kind of sociopathic and fucked up. Like I can see Klopp being a really good or a really bad Bond villain.
You know what I think it is for him? His teeth are too straight. If he had like some scraggly tooth in there that he kind of hid, I would have like
Emery teeth.
Yeah, he's got a little something hidden in there. But Klopp is like so kind of like Hodgson. He just feels like a pure person. And I know maybe I'm just looking at him with rose-colored glasses now that he's announcing he's stepping away. But those are my picks for the worst Bond movie villain. All right, let's move on. Premier League time. And by Premier League time, I mean FA Cup, because we haven't actually had much in the way of Premier League games in quite some time. We will get to some soon enough. But FA Cup, there were some notable results that we could, or not even results. There were some notable results. There were some notable occurrences as well in the FA Cup, which I'll get to in just a minute. But Mikey, what we had Spurs losing to City 1-0. City finally scored a goal in Tottenham Stadium, first time ever. Newport put I wouldn't say put a hurting on United, but they certainly made it interesting. They lost 4-2. And then, of course, Cinderella is still alive with Maidstone. What result stood out to you from the the slate?
Not a ton. The Maidstone story is everyone's favorite, obviously. I'm happy for Luton beating Everton. Just felt like something like a competition that they could maybe rally behind this season, as they seem to be automatically going down at this point. So nothing extreme jumped out to me, except that one as unusual. Newcastle Fulham was as dull as it gets, so it doesn't really interest me at all.
Sounds good. Mitch, anything for you?
Love the Maidstone story. I jokingly shouted out their matchup, I want to say 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about FA Cup ties, like which one did we have our eyes on? And I kind of said, I got my eyes on the Maidstone one, feeling like that was the most irrelevant out of all of them. And sure enough, they've gone and made headlines for themselves. So good on them for that. I'm sorry for doubting you. Newport putting the fear of God in United is kind of funny though. To concede twice to them is ugh. And then Anthony celebrating his goal, his first goal of the season, like he had just bagged a World Cup winner. When in fact it was just a consolation goal against Newport. Well done, Anthony. Good on you, kid.
Manchester United, they got a lot going on at the moment. I think we're going to get to them in the weekend preview, so I'll hold off on that. Yeah, that City Tottenham game is one of those games where like everything went wrong, like just everything. Not just we lost, but the way we lost, and like the sort of questionable call on the goal, which
It's a
actually
foul.
see, I was okay with the call. I was okay with it not being a foul. I do think it was a foul, but I was okay with it. Was kind of it wasn't a kind of foul that was like how could you not call that? It felt to me like yeah, that could be a foul, but I was okay with it not being foul, or the way it was not called. But you have those games. This is going to delve into my betting strategy, but I have I bet like a spoke and what is it, hub and spoke strategy, where I have certain games that are going to be the keys to me winning anything. And if there's a game that I'm just so confident in, I basically put it in all of my bets. And that City Tottenham over was that game where I was just like, there is absolutely no way that this game cannot go over. And of course, 1-0. So basically, I lost my shirt on Friday, which was a tough way to start the weekend. But yeah, City is, they're a better team, and we didn't get the breaks. We didn't have Sonny. We didn't have a lot of play. We didn't have Madison for it's whatever. We lost. It stinks. And me losing my money just was double edged, dick kick.
The trophy, I mean, that's it this year again, huh?
Listen, we're not in this business for trophies, Mikey.
No?
No, we're looking for progress. And you know what?
You're looking to put the pressure on.
Yeah, and we're doing that. Okay. We're doing that to the rest of the teams. The teams that feel like they're top four potential. We are definitely doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Maidstone was a great story. They're moving on. They beat Ipswich, second tier team, actually a team that's doing really well in the championship this season. So Maidstone is the official Cinderella of this year's FA Cup. They're in the sixth tier. And another interesting thing at that game, besides the fact that they beat a second division team, was the fan who rolled. He ran down from the I guess the second level, somewhere in the second level. He ran down. There was
that was awesome.
Awning.
Is he okay?
Apparently, yeah, relatively unhurt. And same with all the people that he must have at least come close to landing on. So he rolled down this awning completely intentionally. Like it was not like, uh-oh, I lost my balance and here I go. He just intentionally, he just sort of was so happy about the game-winning goal. It wasn't even game-winning, by the way. It wasn't like a golden goal. It was just a goal to put Maidstone ahead in the game, which ended up being the game-winning goal. So, well done on the prediction there. But like he just slowly rolled down the awning and just fell. Not like, what, I see myself, going about 20 feet down to the concrete or whatever, or metal, whatever he has landed on, people's heads. He just went head over heels, like not even knowing that, okay, I'm at least landing on my feet, so I know I'm not going to die. It was one of the craziest things I've ever seen. I don't understand what was going through this guy's head. And somehow it was like not even, I mean, it was probably the craziest, but like there were a lot of other just crazy fan behavior in this FA Cup, whatever round it was, fourth round. There was the Port Vale fan who jumped on the field and went and tried to, fight the ref in the middle of the near the end of the game when he
crazy video
when he gave away a penalty. And then there was the Wolves West Brom situation, which sort of was a reminder.
Away end, right?
It was a reminder of what the Premier League used to be like, in the hooligan era. There were a couple, I don't know how many, but it sounds like some Wolves fans bought tickets in the traveling section of, or no, was West Brom visiting? I actually can't remember.
Yeah, they just sat in the wrong end and they were obnoxious about it and got their shit kicked.
Yeah, one of them one of them was getting arrested and treated for a bad head injury at the same exact time. That was just
Did you hear
wild
this?
scenes.
That's going to be my. I won't use it for the Goa, but the song. Did you hear?
No,
I hope somebody can pump it in. The fans were chanting, "Let him die, let him die,
that's
let him
okay.
die."
Yeah, I did see that. It was I feel like people being like, casual fans, like have probably forgotten how serious some of those rivalries are in what I call the flyover country of England. And I said that like tongue in cheek, obviously, since I live in Chicago, which is prime flyover country. But in the Midlands, when you got like Wolves and you got Birmingham City and you got West Brom, those back in the day, those fans would like they
Nothing
would
else to
go
do.
they would go at it. That's a backhanded shot at Chicago, which I hear you there. But listen, I want to give some credit where it's due. At least the fans were sort of reminding everybody, what this is a real rivalry. This is what it's all about. But you know what? Doing it inside the stadium, that's a no. Not there. Okay. That's all we got for review. We're not going to do power rankings this week. We'll go right to weekend preview. And it's not really a weekend preview, it's a whole week preview because we got 2 full slates this week, which is it's been a while since we had one of those. So we got games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then a whole nother one starting, I believe, on Friday. So some of the big ones, I'll list them off here. We got in the midweek, we got Aston Villa hosting Newcastle, Liverpool hosting Chelsea, um, Everton hosting Spurs. This is on Saturday. Mikey's texting us on the side because he's got a wild bet. He bet Ivory Coast to win in penalties when they were down 1-0, and I think they're going. I'm assuming they're going to penalties. I don't have the game.
We've got pens, Sam.
We got pens. All right. Well, I'm rooting for you. It was like 1,200. So well done, sir. All right. The other games, the weekend games. Everton hosting Spurs. Everton, by the way, are, if you don't, I think they were on a hot streak there. They're in a bit of a spot of bother, as they say over there. United hosting West Ham, and I wanted to put United on here because what the hell is going on with them? And then of course Arsenal hosting Liverpool on Sunday is a big one. So Mitch, what game of those, one or two if you want to throw? What are you watching?
Arsenal Liverpool, of course, need a comeback, need some revenge on that one. Speaks for itself. And then I'm also kind of interested in Villa Newcastle, both teams that could be fighting for like that 5-6 spot for if they're really, really pushing it towards this season. So that could have some big implications towards the end of the season.
Those work. Mikey?
Unbeaten in 7, my lock of the weekend is Wolves handing United a defeat on Thursday afternoon. I think that a lot of people are going to see just how good this Wolves team's gotten in the last 5 to 6 weeks, and it could be a real spot of bother after United almost had to dig deep to survive their FA Cup 96th place above scrap. So I really am excited to see Cunha bag a brace and beat United on Thursday.
That's a good shout. We haven't talked much about Wolves, but they really do seem like a club that has just gotten
They're
it together.
balanced right now. They've got it really figured out. They're clicking.
What about United? This
could be a bad one. I don't
understand what, like, either they just don't give a shit about what Ten Hag says anymore. I mean, he came in as like the disciplinarian, hard ass, and all that, and obviously it sort of, I don't know if you'd say backfired with Sancho. It certainly didn't work with Jadon Sancho. Now we got.
He can't stop smiling in Dortmund, by the way. I don't know if you've seen
it. Yeah. It's so funny how their social media team has just been gassing him up. Like they're posting all these just
happy guy in the world right now,
which is hilarious. Listen, they know their role and they're keeping him happy, which that's smart. So, but Marcus Rashford, right? He's a guy who, I don't know. It's not like he's had a ton of disciplinary problems over the years. He's sort of been seen as, an enlightened guy who's always sort of talking out and speaking his mind on big important issues. But something's weird. Something's going on because he allegedly went to Belfast for a night out or something like that. Got probably a little too knocked.
Europe sounds awesome.
Knackered, and then called in sick on the next day, and so then he missed the FA Cup game, which I don't know. That seems like a bad situation. Like that's not good for a guy
That's your opinion.
It is my opinion. That's fair. Mitch, do you have a different opinion?
I don't care. I get why a manager might be upset about that, but like as fans, I don't give two shits. These are things that like when you look back on a player's career, whatever sport, these are things that are often like kind of celebrated as personality pillars in a player. Like Babe Ruth used to take shots of whiskey and smoke cigarettes in the dugout, and that was cool. But now all of a sudden, dudes can't go have a night.
The
Like,
Brazil team, the great
yeah,
Brazil teams.
I'm saying like these are celebrated characteristics in other parts of the world and other sports. But God forbid, guy has one too many and can't go to work Thursday morning, and now it's a whole thing. Like, give the guy a break, Jesus.
It is a different time. I think we all know that.
Yeah, but I mean, he's done a lot of Marcus Rashford has done more good for that club than just about anybody else that wears red right now, currently. So, you know, cut that guy a break, maybe. I know Ten Hag needs to be the disciplinarian, and I know he has his strict rules on how to run the club, but you already ran one of your stars out with that kind of attitude, so don't do it again.
Yeah. Well, he got fined. I think what was it, Mikey? 2
2
weeks.
weeks.
2 weeks,
2 weeks.
which is a casual. I think 600,000, as you said. Not
Yeah.
bad. Not a bad day's work, night's work. Oh yeah. All right. I'm watching the Everton Tottenham game on Saturday because I think Everton's going to beat us. I don't know. I know that they haven't been playing. The results haven't been coming lately, but it just feels like a game where we're just going to roll over and die, or more likely, go get battered and give them some blows too, but somehow lose. We'll move on. See, we're going to keep things quick. We're going to keep things lively, moving. We'll move on to rest of around the world, as I'm calling it now. So we got AFCON and we got the Asian Cup. And AFCON specifically, there are so many crazy storylines and narratives and things happening in this tournament. It's impossible to just keep, like, somebody should have just done an AFCON podcast and just talked about the craziness that happens, like not just in games, but in the locker room, after games. Obviously the fan culture seems awesome. They're all, it sounds amazing, but then like there's so much drama in all the locker rooms. So a couple things that I'll just point out from recent days in AFCON. We had the Ivory Coast. So they're the host nation. We mentioned that they got absolutely smacked 4-0 last week, and they fired their coach, and they still could have made the knockouts. They did make the knockouts, but they didn't have a coach. So that's kind of a problem. Well, they reached out to France because the French women's national team coach has been a previous coach for Ivory Coast. They asked France, could we borrow your coach, for a few weeks or something like that? And France said, nope. Get the fuck out. So they're back to not having a coach. Just craziness. They're actually playing right now, as Mikey we were alluding to.
You're getting a live reaction.
They're in penalties. So
on
everybody
YouTube.
on YouTube, you can just see what Mikey's reaction to his bet goes. He needs Ivory Coast to win on penalties. They're in penalties right now, with or without a coach. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another craziness this is actually from the Asian Cup, so I'm not actually going to talk about that. I'm going to save it for Goas. I'm going to save that for Goas. Any other? I mean, there's other ones. There's the kid. I mean, he's really a kid from Egypt, Imam Ashur, who missed their round of 16 game because he got a concussion doing a backflip at practice. Which, well done, sir. That's unfortunate. Yeah. Anything else stand out from AFCON? I mean, it's just a crazy tournament. I'm sure that
tournament.
It's fun. Yeah. I think the best thing for Liverpool fans, Egypt's out. So Mo Salah's coming back. Unfortunately,
he's damage is done.
Several more weeks. Which is funny. We were talking about Liverpool. I was ready to anoint them as the champs. I think that if Salah had come back healthy from AFCON, and Klopp is sort of, giving them like a little extra motivation here and saying, he's going to head out, I would have been like, you know what? I think Liverpool is going to win the title this year. I think they're going to beat City, but I don't know if they can do that without Salah. something to keep an eye on. So AFCON is just craziness. If you're watching it, you should be watching it, although it's tough. They make it tough. I think it's beIN Sports, whereas at least the Asian Cup is on Paramount Plus, I think. So at least some of us with that app from Champions League can watch it. Any observations, narratives, thoughts about AFCON or Asian Cup, Mitch?
The Jordan Iraq game, the end of that one was nuts.
I was saving that for the goers. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll let you tell the whole story to go with that, but yeah.
That was an absolutely bonkers game. And the referee deserves prison time. All right. We'll leave it there for now, but we will move on to stoppage time and put a bow on this episode. So we're going to start with Ivan Toney's best bets, of course, where last week we came in cooking with thermonuclear gas, I think, my memory is rather shady. But listen, we didn't have a great week. I went 3-2. We won with Mallorca Girona on Wednesday. Hercules Gamboer, first ballot Hall of Fame overtrain inductee Cambuur in the Netherlands, Eerste Divisie. So we won with those two on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, Puebla Toluca only 1-1, not good. Saturday, Central Coast Mariners Brisbane in Australia 2-0, also not good. Sunday, at least we came back and finished in the black for the week with Hamburg and Karlsruhe in the Bundesliga. So we got 3 out of 5. Not great, not bad. We'll call it about even. So now this week, all right, here we go. We're going to start on Wednesday. Hertha Berlin and Kaiserslautern, two Bundesliga 2 teams that are playing in the DFB Pokal Cup. When they play each other, there's always goals. They're in a sort of one-off knockout competition. I love that situation. So Hertha and Kaiserslautern on Wednesday. On Thursday, slim pickings, but I'm going to go with Getafe hosting Real Madrid. Both these teams have been scoring, and while Real Madrid has been winning, they've also been getting scored on. So I think Getafe and Real Madrid in La Liga on Thursday is going to go over. Friday, Northern Ireland. We're going to go to the Northern Ireland Premier League. Connah's Quay is playing Caernarfon, and I definitely butchered both of those names. Yeah, sorry. I follow along. Sorry to our Northern Irish listeners, all 2 of you. Saturday, we're going to go to some teams I can actually pronounce. League 2 in England, Mansfield hosting Notts County. Notts County is an absolute winner in this overtrain situation. I'm watching Mikey, who must have just either won his bet or is looking good.
No, it's 2-2.
Okay. And Sunday, this one's tough, but I think Benfica and Gil Vicente in Portugal is going over. So there's your 5 Wednesday through Sunday, 5-a-side overtrain money winners. Now Mikey is all enthralled with the Ivory Coast.
I got a bet for you.
Okay,
I've already given it out. Cunha to score or assist and Wolves money line on Thursday.
Score and assist
or assist.
Or assist. Okay, that's a good one. Mitch, what do you got?
I got 3, all on the weekend, nothing midweek. Brighton, Palace, both teams to score. I like that. Bayern Munich, Borussia Mönchengladbach. They're giving Bayern Munich 2.5 goals, and that seems steep to me. So I like Gladbach plus 2.5. And then AC Milan money line against Frosinone. I'm not pronouncing that correct either. Put them all together plus 450.
I think that was actually
I love that.
Close enough on Frosinone. That's a good shout on Gladbach.
I like Milan.
They just held Leverkusen, I believe, in a game where I was like, I have to bet this over, but I didn't do it. And I was so happy with myself.
And Bayern has not covered 2.5 goals in. My memory could be wrong, but they're not smoking team this season like Bundesliga seasons have passed. So
they're not. The Bundesliga title race is going to be interesting. The way that Bayern has not been killing it. Bayer Leverkusen was just world beaters for a while, but they haven't been looking great either. It seems like it's definitely up in the air. All right, some good shout out to Ivan Toney. Best bets there. We'll move on to Goas, everybody's favorite segment. Mikey, you want to get this out of the way so you can just concentrate on your shootout?
I mean, sure, if you'd like me to. My Goa this week is every club that didn't go to Dubai or Saudi Arabia in the last 2 weeks.
Not many.
It has hurt form. It has tired players out. And it is all in the name of what we hate about the sport. So my Goa and I understand my club went to Dubai. I would like to give a quick shout out to everyone who just stayed the fuck home and didn't go to Saudi Arabia or Dubai in the last 2 weeks.
Good.
What a ridiculous thing to do with the French or the Cups in Spain. It's crap. It's all
Spain,
crap.
Turkey, Italy.
Crap.
There's all them at like
Nobody went to the games. It was unbelievable.
all the
Empty
MLS clubs
stadium.
that are there right now for preseason. Miami
It's
just
dumb.
played.
That's my Goa. All of them. Everyone who was nice and smart.
Okay, sounds good. I like you put a positive spin there instead of like, shitting on the teams that actually went. You gave the go to the teams that didn't go. Well done. Okay, Mitch, who you got?
I got a good one and a funny one. Actually, no, I'll do the good one first because it's somewhat related to Mikey's. Kai Havertz. I got to interview him this past week in London. He remembered me, which was really cool because I met him over the summer in LA when Arsenal was on their American tour. He said, "Hey, bro, how you been? How's things? I remember you from LA." And I was like, "Damn, that's really cool. Kai Havertz, really cool." But I asked him about Dubai. I gave him a softball of a question. I said, the vibe looks good over there. It looked like it was a well-needed break for you and the squad. How was it over there? And he was just kind of like, yeah, no, it was a needed break. It was hot over there. But he did not sing the praises of the camp itself. He was more so kind of like, we needed a break from playing Premier League matches. But I kind of asked him a couple times, like, so how was Dubai, like how was and he was like, it was all right, whatever. So I would assume that Kai Havertz, in as many words, would co-sign whatever Mikey's saying there.
He didn't pull the Lukaku and say, this is going to be the second best, league in the world. And
he's a man of few words as it is. I don't think he's going to hold too strong a stance on literally anything. But my funny one is actually Ivan Toney, because he posted something fairly recently about all the haters and doubters, of which there are many, and that he's making his comeback, and that the haters are not going to keep him down, and that all of those who doubted him are going to finally see, brother, you broke the rules. Nothing happened to you. You did something. This thing that happened to you, this suspension, is a product of things that you alone did. There's nobody hating and doubting on you. This is your deal. This is your bed that you made. And now you're saying that the haters and doubters said you can't sleep in it? Come on, man. Like, it's just the mentality that he has, that he's the underdog in this situation, is hilarious to me.
Right. That's actually a great shout. I could imagine him feeling like, maybe the suspension was too long or too strong.
Sure. Yep.
But like the haters and the doubters, no. You could be
right.
mad at like one dude in like the Premier League office who's decided, I think 8 months sounds about right when,
Ivan the persecuted.
There you go. Well, speaking of which,
for the win,
using that language. Oh, did you win or
just one pen? This is it, Frank Kessier. We get this live.
Give it to us.
Game. Yeah. He went middle high and Mendy didn't dive. All right, sorry. I don't mean to derail your show.
No, well done.
What a hit.
My Goas were, so I wasn't actually going to include Kyle Walker, but the fact that you sort of brought up Ivan Toney and the way he, is going about his post suspension, like when I listened to like 20 seconds of the Kyle Walker interview, when he, like, what a wild interview, by the way. He just is going on camera to talk about the fact that he cheated on his wife and cheated on his mistress with a third chick. Wow. I can't imagine the kind of dirt, because he did it with the Sun. I can't imagine the dirt they actually have on him if he's just giving them like an exclusive like this, because there's no doubt in my mind that they must have something, and maybe more things than one, real bad for him to give them an exclusive like this. But his language in it was just very, these situations that happen that are now affecting my family and my kids. No, bro. Speaking of making your bed and sleeping in, like, That's literally your bet that was involved in this. But that's just a late sort of breaking addition here. My actual go is for the week. Shout out 2 honorable mentions. Number 1, Brandon Vasquez, who's come in for Rayados and just, I mean, he's looked great. He scored 2 goals in 2 games. And the one he just scored, I don't know if it was last night or the night before, was awesome. This header that he just somehow looped over the keeper from like almost outside the 18. Well done to Brandon Vasquez. Love seeing him, dominate down there. Also, shout out to Iñaki Williams. So Ghana was eliminated from AFCON on Monday, and then he flew home immediately and scored the game-winning goal in the Copa del Rey quarterfinal versus Barcelona. So shout out to Iñaki Williams for that, and that was on Wednesday. So like one day in between the two. But my actual Goa for the week is the referee, as we mentioned, in the Jordan-Iraq round of 16 game of the Asian Cup. So this just happened today. Iraq let's see, they were tied 1-1. Their leading scorer, Ayman Hussein, who's actually the top scorer in the entire tournament, he scored to take the lead in the 76th minute. His celebration, after, getting hugs and all that stuff, was to sit on the ground and like pretend like he was eating grass. I don't understand the celebration. I don't know what the meaning of it is, but it's the tamest celebration, I could really ever imagine. It's not like, a guy going down the end line and like snorting coke off the line, like, that type of stuff. He's eating grass. The ref comes over.
Robbie Fowler did that, by
Fowler,
the way.
exactly. But the ref came over and gave Hussein a second yellow card for that celebration. So a red card. So he's off, and Iraq's down a man now. So they're playing Jordan. They get to 90 minutes. In stoppage time, Jordan up a man, and Iraq had already used all their substitutions. Jordan scored 2 goals in stoppage time to to leapfrog Iraq and knock them out of the Asian Cup. And like the fact that this referee gave this card in this situation and completely changed the whole game, I mean, is just, that's what refs are not, that's what you're not there to do, right? It's not about you. It's not about like respect my authority on the tamest celebration in, the history of soccer. It's just a ridiculous decision by the referee, who completely ruined the game and, knocked Iraq out of the tournament. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what, what the media is saying about it, but that referee needs to be prison, straight to prison, right to prison. That's all I got to say. All right, there we go. We may have kept it under an hour. I don't know if we did or not, but that's what our goal was. We're moving in the right direction here. Mikey, Mitch, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. Everybody else, thank you for listening. And we'll be back with more soccer talk next week. See you guys then.